Whoa, it's bright. That got bright. Oh, man. I don't know. What are we doing here? It's chaos. We got Nigoth, Llama, Sophia. People are showing up. I know this is a weird time to do it. It's Wednesday. It's not our standard.
All you and none me.
You're not
me off the shoulder.
Let's just make this more fair. Here we go.
I know there's more of me than you, but come on, bro.
That better?
Yeah, that's way better.
That cracked me up.
Good. At least you laugh at you.
Is that good?
You've got eyes.
I'm trying to make you look thinner. Cut off like that side.
All right, let's push the button.
Tomo's here, Coffee's here, Pug's here, Sophia, Llama, Egoth. I'm surprised on a Wednesday. We didn't know if we'd get people on a Wednesday because it's not our standard. Can you guys hear us? Yes, it's live. Hi there, and ready to argue with Shane. I know this one. I feel like this one's going to be a battle.
Yeah.
All
right, everybody. Eat theme song.
Hello, kids. Welcome
Loud
to the
and clear.
Torture Half Hour.
Pug made it. Jessica, woohoo! Woo!
It's Mffi after midnight.
We do not kick shame.
I know we don't.
That's for a few minutes while everyone enjoys the tunes. It's so bright. I think this might be our last ever podcast. This is what number is this? It's the final.
It's good.
This was a good one. No one has ever looked that guilty. First, I will be auditioning for new co-hosts starting next week. So loud. Yes, Llama. That is the one. I have a very short list, and I'm relying on people. I can come up with some off the top of my head.
Hey, everybody! Welcome to another After Midnight. Tonight's topic is the top 5 cult classic movies, and I have decided to torture Shane by making not only a list, but a very long list, purposefully long. I'm overdoing it just to piss him off.
That doesn't piss me off.
Oh, you think so?
Oh, well, I spoke too soon.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm actually impressed with you for making a list. So congratulations and thank you. Because I actually didn't make a very long list. I think I have a few movies. There are some that I think the biggest problem that we're going to have is defining a cult classic and arguing about what qualifies.
Okay.
Don't you think?
I mean,
I feel like it's subjective.
Yeah, it entirely depends on are you looking at like tiny amount of money to make but earned a huge amount of money, or are you talking about like huge amount of money, earned almost nothing in the box office but then became a huge hit afterwards? Are you talking about never really was that big a hit until years after it's making, like Rocky Horror Picture Show is that it never made a lot of money, wasn't a lot of buzz when it was a thing, and then a decade later, people started having strippers show up and do the fucking opening sequence and throwing wieners, little cocktail wieners and shit, and it became a thing.
Now, I do think that there are some cult classics that are defined as cult classics that define maybe the genre, the subcategory of cult classic, and I think Rocky Horror is sort of one of those seminal films that is what we think of as a cult classic. I hate it. I hate that movie. But you can't argue that it's not a cult classic.
No, that and Clue. Like, both movies are cult classics. They were kind of shite. Nobody really enjoyed them. They were goofy as balls. I don't like the movie. I've been forced to actually sit there and watch the movie when not at a movie theater.
Clue?
No.
Didn't you want to go see
Rocky?
Clue one time?
Yeah, but I've seen Clue, and Clue is at least funny in some ways. Like, it's at least got some goofball factor to it. Rocky Horror Picture Show is just redonkulous the whole way through.
What does ship mean? These kids in their slang, I don't know what that means.
Ship means relationship.
She said, look at how they look at each other. Such love.
Oh,
yeah.
My hetero life partner over here.
There is affection. There's definitely love. We love each other.
Yes.
In a very platonic, depressingly platonic way. It would be nice if you were cuter.
I mean, we would both be a hell of a lot less lonely if we were gayer and shit.
I know, man.
Nah.
It's a bummer.
Yeah. Too bad we like the vagina.
I try to look at you that way every now and then. I'm like, could I?
I do not try and look at you that way. But thanks for that.
Now it's in your head.
Now I'm going to have
Anytime
nightmares.
I'm looking at you, you're going to be like, is he trying to visualize
me naked? Sweet.
No, I've seen you naked.
I was going to say, you don't have to visualize that. I get drunk and wander around the place naked just to piss you off.
Tillman, we don't really have a cat between us. There's really one cat. In fact,
Yeah.
there's one cat for one person. In fact, Duncan was trying to convince me to bring on another.
I still want a Maine Coon. I just want a big fluffy ball of purr that lets me do whatever I want and actually wants to hang out with me, as opposed to barely tolerates my existence.
I have nothing against Maine Coons. I would love a Maine Coon, but I
Yeah.
don't want to torture Inky and put him through that. He's gone through enough.
Oh.
his miserable life of eating fish and chicken
Yeah,
every day.
gourmet meals.
Okay, so I do think that there are, like I said, we're going to have some arguments about individual cult classics because there are some that I think are near and dear to my heart that I consider to be cult classics that I don't know if anyone else is going to agree, qualify.
Okay.
But I think there are some that right off the bat we have to talk about, including Rocky Horror, including The Room. What else is a major cult classic? I did write down some. But the Rocky Horror I would not put on the list because I can't stand that movie. But if we're just going by the top most popular or most celebrated cult classics of all time, I feel like it has to be on the list. The Room is my personal favorite. I love that stupid ass movie, and I have so much affection for it. I would love to go to one of those midnight screenings where they throw spoons for some reason because he says he comes down with a spoon. Anyway,
that's basically your Rocky Horror Picture Show. And Jessica Toft, what are you talking about? The Crow is not a cult classic. You dingus.
See, this is where we're gonna get into these. I agree with you, but this is where I think you can make a case for The Crow. It was a huge flop. It had some weird lore behind it because Brendan Lee, right?
Yeah,
Brandon
Lee
died during the filming, and then it became this like goth classic. I think it is a cult classic, but not for me. I
hadn't thought it flopped, but
I think it wasn't very popular. I think, or it certainly wasn't well reviewed.
I mean, but so few movies are well reviewed that are awesome, let alone the ones that are become cult classics.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of movies that make money are still poorly reviewed. Inky's just buzzing by,
losing his fucking furry mind.
I
say we just start the list and then see if there is an argument that takes place, because I don't think there's going to be a huge amount of argument because I don't care that much, and the insomniacs will be the ones who truly are like, no.
That's probably true.
Yeah.
I think you and I aren't invested in cult classics for the most part. Although, see, here's a great example of one that I think we diverge on, and I do think qualifies as a cult classic, and I fucking hate that movie, is Boondock Saints.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you want to talk about one that was, panned by critics and didn't do that well. It also had a kind of a shit release, but yeah, it didn't do that well, and then everybody loves it afterwards. Yeah.
Everybody minus me.
Right, everyone who matters. And so, yeah, I mean, I like that movie not because it's amazing or anything like that, but mostly just because of the violent justice in it. Like I'm all about, venge tales. Like I love John Wick. I love what was that one?
Taken or
like Taken or any of those kind of movies I'm just all about.
For some reason that genre doesn't hit with me. I don't know what it is, because I can understand the appeal. Like I watch it and I wish I enjoyed it. And I just am like, okay, there's going to be vengeance. I can predict vengeance. This guy is indestructible and it's all going to work out.
Right.
But I don't know. I don't like those. None of those movies work for me. But I don't hate that you like them. Sometimes some things I do hate that you like, not particularly those. I don't think The Princess Bride, you guys, because it's one of my favorite movies of all time, and I would put it on pretty much any list that I can sneak it on.
And
but it was a huge hit.
Yeah, it wasn't critically panned. It was a huge hit. Like it's just, mind you, all you youngins out there, cult classic doesn't mean movies my parents liked that I'd never heard of and then watched and loved. That does not qualify as a cult classic. A cult classic is, at very least, has to have been a complete flop, and then after a while people loved it, or like it just never did that well and then people started to love it or something like that. But like, yeah, it's got to be something like that. It can't just be like old ass movie I've never seen.
Same with Fifth Element and 12 Monkeys. Those were not.
No, those were hugely commercially successful.
Yeah, Brad Pitt was in 12 Monkeys and it did well at the box office. I think it was Terry Gilliam.
It was Bruce Willis and Brad Pitt. It did fine.
Yeah. Some people are saying I will argue, which I like.
Yeah, please
bring
coffee, off you go. Come on.
Terminator again. It spawned a sequel,
classic,
a huge sequel. You guys.
About? Coffee, I love you dearly, but that was ridiculous.
I didn't read your definition, Llama. Maybe you need to write it again. But I'm also going to probably not pay attention to your definition if it includes things like Princess Bride on the list. I don't think that's valid. Cult films, she says, are films with a dedicated and passionate following, often defined by their opposition to mainstream appeal. That's there's what we're talking about, and traditional cinematic norms. While the term lacks a singular definition, and then she ran out of space. The problem is that popular appeal. Like Princess Bride was a massive film when it came out. It was a big deal.
Yep.
And it only grew later into what it has become, but I would say more of a phenomenon than a cult classic.
Yeah. If you're talking about phenomenon movies, that would rank real high. But
on the other hand, someone said, Llama did say Donnie Darko, and that's another movie that I fucking hate, but is a cult classic.
That is a cult classic, yeah, because it's so out of pocket and just fucking odd, but people love it. And I can see why it became a cult classic. It is so, like I said, out of pocket and just out of left field. I had to watch a making of to even find out like the secret of the plot is that it's a hero story. It's about a fucking superhero, which I didn't fucking know. I was like,
feel like everyone's retconning it, and the people who made it.
Well, no, like that was the director. Like,
really?
Yeah, because like when the axe is
he's
put into
retconning
it. No, he was like, I made it to be this way. It's just a weird one. But like when he puts the axe into the bronze statue, he was like, yeah, a superhero could do that. Nobody else could do that. Yeah,
yeah.
That was the director. That wasn't anybody else. It was him said that.
I think he was marvelizing his film. Jessica said Mallrats. That is interesting. The whole Kevin Smith universe.
Now
what's it called?
Yeah.
There's a name for like the Kevin
Clarkverse,
Smith
but,
expanded universe, cinematic universe.
Yeah.
And that is culty.
Mallrats would fall under Clerk, because Clerk was a massive hit. It's not a cult classic, but
it was an underground. It was like an indie hit.
It was an indie hit, but and then it blew up. Like they re-released it. Like it came out again. Like it was huge. The thing that would be called a cult classic would be Mallrats. Absolutely, Mallrats could be considered a cult classic because it's got a pretty devoted and large-ish or whatever following, but it's an absolute wackaloon of a film, and everyone panned it.
I do think everyone panned it, but everyone pans most of his movies, and then only the Kevin Smith ball suckers go see it. I'm not a Kevin Smith fan. I can appreciate the original Clerks for what it was. I don't understand the appeal of Kevin Smith. I think it's all very juvenile and stupid, and like eating shit on pretzels, and like it just, what am I even watching right now? How is this? I don't understand it. But I do agree. I think all those would count as cult classics, because you say Clerks was a big hit. It was not. It was a major indie release. Like as an indie goes, it did well, but it's not Marvel, man. That movie, there are still a lot of people who have no idea what you're talking about if you're talking Clerks, even from our generation. They just weren't into it. They don't know what it is. It was some black and white film about guys that
I would like to see the box office take on it, because I'm pretty sure it was a box office smash. I know it was an indie smash.
No, I think, well, we should look that up.
Yeah.
Chat, can you look that up? Because I think what it was a huge hit base compared to its budget. Like it was made for $5, and then it made like 10
I think
million.
it was actually 5,000 or 10,000, some very small amount of money. Yeah.
You get my point. And then it made like 5 million or something, and that's crazy. That's like Blair Witch Project shit.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, is almost now Blair Witch Project became a
blew up. It was
phenomenon.
Huge. Yeah.
The Fly, I think though when it came out was a big movie.
Yeah.
That had Goldblum in it. It was a Cronenberg movie. I think it was actually a pretty big hit.
Yeah.
It has become bigger.
Yeah.
In the, Jesus Christ, in the years since. But I think it started out as a pretty big movie. The Evil Dead series, I would say.
Yeah, now that's on my list. The Evil Dead series 1, 2, and Army of Darkness. Army of Darkness was okay big. Like it had at least like actual backing, and Evil Dead 2 is when the money started picking up. But Evil Dead 1 was definitely a cult.
I'm already getting so mad at the chat. Coffee. I did not make up my own definition. Llama's throwing out anything by Quentin Tarantino. No, like the original, you could almost say if all he had ever done was Reservoir Dogs, then cult classic, right?
Yeah.
The man made fucking Pulp Fiction, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, those made billions of dollars. Those are not cult classics.
Take it down.
No, I'm very upset, and I'm drinking soda.
This is going to be okay. I blame all of you for turning this ferret on. Jesus.
Thank you on the stats on The Princess Bride. I'm just completely misremembering. Big Lebowski is 100% a cult classic.
Cult classic. And that's on my list as well.
Fuck, that would go on my list. That's a good one.
Yep.
Yep.
Big
Lebowski.
I appreciate it, Coffee. Thank you. I have to live with him, remember?
Let's see.
Put the Evil Deads on there too.
Although, I mean, didn't those then later become
Well, they became cult classics, but at the time of their release, they were complete unknowns. They did nothing.
well, the originals became cult classics, but then now they've spawned series that are actual bona fide hits.
Well, right, but that's not what we're talking about. We're saying the OG Evil Dead series,
The original.
like Evil Dead 1, Evil Dead 2, and Army of Darkness. Army of Darkness actually had some backing and did okay. But
Army of Darkness was a cult classic. That
Yeah.
became a big, like every
Huge.
college
Yep.
dorm had that movie. I've seen it a million times at like parties.
Yep.
That is a good one. Raising Arizona, Llama. Okay, you're on my wavelength now, and those are both. So now we're talking the Coen brothers, which is similar to, probably similar to the Kevin Smith universe. Like they have their huge fans who will go see everything, and I far prefer the Coen brothers to Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
What did she Google? Kill Bill. No, again, Tarantino. Come on, you guys. Tarantino cannot be considered some kind of fucking indie filmmaker at this point. He is one of the most celebrated directors in Hollywood.
Despite his foot fetish.
The weird ass foot fetish. He's gotten so many famous actresses to like show him their feet on camera.
Shove their feet in his face.
I've got a couple others. Office Space.
Yeah, Office Space is on my list. Office
Great.
Space is a cult classic.
Because that one, and even like the first time I watched it, like halfway through, I was like, what the fuck am I watching? And then I kind of got into it, and then it just became a thing that everyone was quoting.
Yeah.
Personal pieces of flair and like my stapler, and I'm going to burn the place down.
Mm-hmm.
What about your TPS reports? How about Starship Troopers?
Yeah, Starship Troopers would definitely qualify as a cult classic, as well as, for some reason, Super Troopers.
Yeah.
Like Super Troopers didn't do great in the box office. Again, it had very small release, but everybody loves that movie. And
not me, but
I mean, that's again, people who matter.
It does.
It's amazing.
It is a cult classic. I'll give you that.
Hilarious.
Little Shop of Horrors. Let me come back to that. Napoleon Dynamite, 100%. Negath.
Yeah, Napoleon Dynamite would definitely. Although I thought that blew up at theaters. I thought it did very well, like very poorly at first, and then blew up while it was still in rotation.
No, it blew up on home video.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it became like a huge thing afterwards. Do the chickens have large talons? There's so many great lines. And okay, I'm watching The White Lotus. You remember Napoleon Dynamite?
No.
You don't remember anything in the movie?
I remember I couldn't watch it. It was too uncomfortable.
It is uncomfortable humor.
Yeah.
That's too bad. Because I'm watching The White Lotus, and there's this character, and he looks so fucking familiar, and he's an old man. And I was like, I know I've seen him before, and it's Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite. And it also is one of those things where you're like, ah, shit, we all got old. Like, time's a bitch. Labyrinth. Yeah.
Shawshank, are you high?
Okay. Coffee. That's interesting. Shawshank is considered to be one of the biggest post-release successes.
Really?
Yeah. So
okay, I take that back. Coffee.
It
My
wasn't, but I don't know that it's cult. It is so mainstream. Everyone loved it. Like that's where we get into this definition thing.
Right.
It is one of the most mainstream movies you can imagine, right? And
it used to play ad nauseum on like Showtime, HBO.
That's why it became huge.
Yeah, even Lifetime.
That's not cult at all.
No.
That's like straight up on HBO all the time or whatever it was. Yeah. But it was a big bomb when it came out, Shawshank, and then became like huge. Labyrinth, Llama, I kind of want to come back to because I don't know. That's a good question. Is Labyrinth a cult classic?
Coffee. I felt almost attack. I took it
back. You're not listening to me about Labyrinth.
I'm not, because I don't. I never really got into Labyrinth. I never really watched it. I don't care.
Irrelevant.
Yeah.
But do you think it's a cult classic?
Like I said, I don't care. And one of our things is both of us have to have seen it.
You've never seen Labyrinth?
Not all the way through. I've seen parts of it.
Soulless.
Yes.
Fucking bastard.
True.
The Lost Boys, yes. I think
that qualifies.
It's not even on my list. Oh
no, but it should have been.
Oh, I feel bad that wasn't on my list.
Nah,
we're bad Santa Cruzans.
Santa Cruzians, true.
That should be on the list. Good one.
Yeah. Fuck out of here, Nathan, with your Sharknado.
No, that is 100% a cult classic.
I just hate it, and I've never seen it all the way through.
I have never seen it.
Yeah,
but I know that it became a cult classic.
Yeah, I know.
But is it a cult classic if it's just a joke? No one likes that movie, really.
Well, no, but like there was a cult classic of Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. That shit
Yeah.
made me laugh, and I've seen all of those. They're
Oh,
fucking
we're
funny.
putting that on the fucking
Yeah,
list.
and
Law
I
of
mean,
Sharknado.
and fucking the Toxic Avenger was fucking insane.
Right.
Anything from what the hell was that movie? That movie
Studio.
called?
Are you thinking of the one that made like Superman 4?
I don't know that they made Superman 4, but I know they made Toxic Avenger. They made Attack of the Killer. I think they made anyway. They made Toxic Avenger. They made a bunch of movies that were like horrifying.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Yeah,
it's a good one.
Yeah, Natalie, we mentioned Clue.
I forgot to put that on. That is a good one. Xanadu. I don't think that's. It might have been there were people who
Never
liked
seen
it.
it, don't care.
I think it was big when it came out. No, maybe not. Maybe it was a bomb. I don't fucking know.
Never seen it, don't care.
I've heard of it. Shawshank became a success when released after Oscar nomination. Yeah, but it's really I read this whole thing on Shawshank, the phenomenon of Shawshank, and how it became huge when it got into rotation on all this syndicated, Showtime or whatever.
Yeah,
and they would play it literally like they would stop playing it and then it would start again.
Yeah,
and just like on a 24-hour cycle, you could cycle through your cable.
I actually
listing,
did once,
and it
go
was
from,
always playing somewhere.
Well, yeah, no, like I actually did go from like HBO to like Showtime to what was the other one? Cinemax. I went from those three because Cinemax fuzzed out and Showtime started getting a little fuzzy, and I still was able to finish it on HBO. But I like went through them to like watch the segments, and they were all perfectly on.
Yeah, I think they did a brilliant job. I was reading about that. They did a brilliant job of sort of like for very cheap giving out the rights for this, and then they just got it. It got good feedback, and so everyone was playing it all the time.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, first off, Pulp Fiction, was, I guess, kind of an indie film, but it had huge stars in it, and it became one of the biggest movies of all time. It was a huge hit when it came out. I went and saw it. Hocus Pocus, yes. I'm just vetoing it right off the bat. I will not put it on this list.
I've never seen it all the way through. I don't care.
Jody used to force me to watch it, and yeah. I don't like it. It has a black cat in it, so that almost allows it to sneak on, but the cat is like a puppet and it looks terrible.
Okay. And Jessica, to answer your question, it's just been a really tough week. There's been firings and lots of lack of work, and I'm just tired. And the week is not over. And I have to do the host swap on Saturday, and that's stressing me out.
I know. And we're going out to dinner with my parents tomorrow,
which is a high point. That's not stressful.
That'll be fun.
But
and I lost a great employee this week, and now I have like 8 million more things to do.
Right. But that is not what we're focusing on right now. Jessica, I love you, but that's not what we're looking at right now.
Fair.
We're doing something else.
Clockwork Orange, Zofia, is a good one.
Yeah, that's fair.
Hate that movie. Love that book.
Yeah.
I thought it was a travesty of a movie because it ruined a great book, but it did become a cult classic. Yeah. I will put it on our short list.
And Gremlins as well.
No, that was okay. Gremlins was a Steven Spielberg film.
I didn't know it did well in the movies. I thought
it did. It spawned 2 sequels.
Well,
There's
I know
like
it did
Gremlins
that.
3.
Well, that was because after the release, it blew up, but I didn't know it was good. Like it had a good release. I didn't know that.
I don't think Steven Spielberg directed it. He may have, but he produced it. It was his name was all over it, and it became a fucking huge hit.
It was a what's that called? It was an Amblin movie. I know that.
It was Amblin, yeah. And the Gremlin like toys were everywhere. The little Mogwais, and it was like a massive hit.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Sarah. It was very popular. Wizard of Oz, no. Oh,
shut up, June.
Zofia must be Googling because Zofia, I know you're not old enough to remember Harold and fucking Maude.
Yeah.
But that is a good one. It was a huge cult classic.
Yeah.
And it creeps me out. It's kind of a weird movie. As kids, like, has an obsession with death. And have you seen it?
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's a little weird.
But I'll put it on the list because those are good. Man, these are a lot.
Yeah.
Harold and Maude. Eraserhead, yes. Repo Man, I saw in the freaking theater with my dad. It kind of fucked me up as a kid.
That's a solid parenting decision.
My dad made me go see The Wall too, and I like screamed and yelled until he left.
Jesus,
he had to like take this child out of the Pink Floyd movie. Repo Man, though, was, I guess, a cult classic.
Nah, Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
That was a hit.
Yeah. Wait, it wasn't in the movie theater?
Yeah,
I thought it got
was
panned.
No, it definitely was not critically panned. It may have not made a ton of money, but I
We
think
should look that up. Somebody, Llama, look that up. Was that actually did that do well in the box office or
because we
not?
also have to remember, here's another movie that was made for $5,
Right.
and then it
Well,
definitely
that's-
made money.
But so this is going back to the thing. It's like so the first thing that she said on her definition was like, is it did it not do well and was critically panned, or did it like not do well and like nobody went and saw it in the movie theater, but then later grew a strong fervent following? I would say Monty Python and the Holy Grail, if it didn't do well in the movie theater, pretty much is that to a T.
But I think it did do well in the movie theater in relation to its budget. It did quite well, better than most blockbusters do, because most blockbusters have a huge budget that they barely recoup, and they make a few $1 million on top of that, right? This movie made millions of dollars because they spent 70 cents and they made millions. So it definitely was a box office hit. It was a modest hit. Someone can look that up, but as I understand it, that was actually a hit because I think it was their biggest film ever, and they kept making films. I mean, they made Life of Brian, and that one was a hit.
Yeah. But that was more on the back of, Monty Python Flying Circus. Cocoon. Now there's a fucking
Grossed more than any other British film screened in the U.S. in 1975, and has since been considered one of the greatest comedy films of all time. So it was
definitely a massive hit.
It was a hit.
Yeah. So then no, it doesn't qualify.
Nope. Oh, Spinal Tap. Well, now there's another cinematic universe.
Yeah.
Spinal Tap, Mighty Wind.
Yeah.
Best in Show. It's all the guy. My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. What's his name?
I don't know, but he's
the
an asshole,
guy.
apparently.
No, he's a nice guy. People love him.
Well, no, like apparently during the recording, during the making of Princess Bride, he was an asshole.
He made all those other movies. Everybody loves him. Okay. Waiting for Guffman. Yep, he did that too. And that's interesting. There is this like expanded cinematic universe of whatever the fuck his name is. Don't know if they qualify. The Red Circle I've never heard of.
Neither have I.
We talked about The Crow.
Demolition Man. I love that movie, but I'm not coming with you on that one.
I think that movie has a lot of defenders who sort of love the camp of it.
Yeah, it is campy as balls, and I think it's hilarious, but I'm not going to go cult classic.
I wouldn't say it's a cult classic. Yeah. Of all of the movies by, what's his name? Fuck.
Did The Last Starfighter or Cocoon become cult classics? I don't remember them being.
Cocoon,
I know
was a hit in the theater.
He was in the theater? Okay.
Oh yeah, I saw it in the theater. It was a hit. That was another like Spielberg or something, because it was like that and like Batteries Not Included and like.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's right. Yeah. I think that was a Spielberg. Yeah, you're right. I think it was an Amblin. Because I think I saw Cocoon in the movie theater. If not, I know I saw Cocoon 2 in the theater. But we were religious fanatics for those movies, especially with those old actors.
I don't understand what shipping means. Does that just mean that we have a relationship? They're making fun. They're calling us gay. Is that what shipping means?
I think.
Okay.
I'm too tired to care.
Dead Poets Society. That's interesting. That was a hit too. That was Rob Williams.
Was it a hit?
Made a ton of money.
I don't remember.
Yeah, it was a big movie.
Okay.
Oh snap, Natalie. Yes, They Live.
Oh yeah, no, that's on my list.
Fuck, that's a good one.
Again, They Live is awesome.
Also,
I love that movie.
It's a great movie, and it has Rowdy Roddy fucking Piper
as the main character, which is just ridiculous, but that's awesome.
Oh, that's a Christopher Guest. Yes, thank you, Llama. So there's like a whole Christopher Guest universe, and I would say Spinal Tap is probably the biggest of the cult classics of those. But they also sort of, they're very similar to Mallrats and Clerks. It's just there's a group of people who love that universe. They love Christopher Guest, or they love, what's his face, Kevin Smith, and they go to all those movies. And so he just has like a built-in audience.
Right.
But I don't know if that's the same as a cult classic. It's like you have a niche market.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, Christopher Guest. Thank you, Sarah. Shipping means she hopes you guys end up in a romantic relationship. Oh, thanks, Sophia. You're a little brat. Chasing Amy, again, part of the Kevin Smith expanded universe. Not one of the ones that I think is the most celebrated.
Yeah.
It's probably the only movie of his that I actually like.
And
it's not even a good movie, but it hit me really hard when it came out, because I was like at the age where I was dealing with all of that. Like
a very jealous young man.
I was a jealous, like, I don't even want to say it, but basically slut shaming. I love where you're like, don't suck any dicks on the way to the. Oh no, that was
That was
Clerks.
Clerks.
Same thing though. Oh, that's interesting, Jessica.
Stand by Me. That's an interesting suggestion.
Huh?
I don't know how that did in the movie there. I know, yeah,
No, it
blew
was
up
a hit.
after. Was it? I don't
Yeah,
remember.
Stand by Me was a hit.
I don't know. I'm not old enough.
Yeah, you are. It wasn't that long ago.
I mean, it wasn't in the
but
movie theater when I saw it. It
Really?
never was. It was when
don't
I
think
saw
I-
it. It was on the TVs.
I don't think I saw it in that theater either.
Mm.
But that's another kind of expanded universe of like Stephen King dramatic films.
Yeah.
Stephen King non-horror movies like Green Mile, Shawshank,
Yeah.
Stand by Me.
Yeah.
Those are all Stephen King's, and they sort of have another built-in audience. And
Yeah.
all of those did well in the theater. No, Shawshank. The other two did well. Green Mile did well.
Yeah.
And Stand by Me did.
Didn't Green Mile get like an Oscar or some shit? I feel like it was at least nominated for an Oscar.
Oh, they definitely were
Yeah.
nominated. That's a good one.
Heathers?
Natalie, yeah.
Yeah, Heathers
Heathers
is
was a
classic.
big cult classic.
Yeah.
And
And
Little
is
Short
actually
Ways.
kind of funny.
It's a fun
Christian
movie.
Slater is a lovable sociopath.
I love Christian Slater. I don't like what's her face, but
Yeah.
I like him. Yes, it did. That movie fucks me up every time. Green Mile. Yeah, it did well.
Striking Distance. Wow, you are digging for those Bruce Willis movies. What the
I don't
fuck?
even, never even heard of that.
Striking Distance is a horror like thriller movie with Bruce Willis where he's a drunk like Coast Guard guy sort of in New York area, and it's like the murders are kind of creepy and weird and it is interesting, but like it did nothing ever.
Yeah. Negoth, that's a good one. Blade Runner.
Blade Runner was a cult classic?
It was a bomb.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy shit. Well, then, yeah, that definitely goes on the list. That'd be my number one with a bullet because I love that movie.
Because that's a movie that you could say spawned a sequel, but only because it became a cult classic. Like
Yeah.
it took what 25 years or something to make a sequel.
Oh, dude, that was such a cool movie. Yeah, definitely.
Maybe check that, but I'm pretty sure Blade Runner didn't do well when it came out. It certainly was critically panned.
Mm.
I know. I think what's his
is
face,
insane to
Richard
me, but-
Roper, or
Mm.
I do miss Ebert and Roper, or
Right.
Ebert and Siskel.
Yeah,
Siskel and Ebert. Sometimes I have to do 6 degrees of separation
Yes.
to get to where I need to be. Siskel and Ebert, the two thumbs up.
Yeah,
That was a
I
big
remember.
thing when I was a kid.
I remember everyone was sad when one of them died. I can't remember who it was.
It was Ebert. Well, they
Yeah.
both have died now, and I think
Right, but when the first one died.
it was Ebert. He was the fat one, and he was very beloved. This is pure brain power. She's a liar. Sophia's never heard of most of these movies. A Life Less Ordinary, never heard of that. I haven't heard of that one.
Oh, that does sound familiar. Why does that sound familiar?
Oh, snap. Nathan, good one. And you know what? It's crazy that we didn't bring this up because we did an episode where we like raved about this movie. And then I went back and watched it and was like, I don't know if it holds up as well as we thought it did. Still good. Baron Munchausen. Adventures of Baron Munchausen.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Did it become a cult classic? Or was it just like-
I think it was just
There's a good number of people who like it.
Yeah, I think it just had a cult following. I don't know if it got to a cult classic.
Yeah, I would say like it was reevaluated as being a pretty good film and
Yeah.
ends up on some like great movies of whatever year. But I don't know that
I don't
it's
know,
a cult classic.
Yeah.
I do have a lot of affection for it.
Yes.
Blade Runner only made $36 million on a $28 million budget. So yeah, it was very, very modest. Not a hit. It was a very, very modest success.
Thought.
Oh, Jessica, that's interesting.
Hmm?
Dark Crystal.
Well,
ever see it?
people done been saying Dark Crystal.
Oh.
Yeah, I never saw it all the way through. Like it was one of Wifeness's favorite movies. I don't care. I don't like
I
that
don't know
much
if it's a cult
Muppeteering.
classic.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it qualifies.
I saw it in the theater. It freaked me out. The Skeksis were fucking terrifying. Yeah, it's so scary when they throw their heads up with their weird vulture necks and shit. Ugh. Did not like them. Night of the Living Dead we talked about. I think we agreed that should go on.
No, we didn't. We talked about Evil Dead. We didn't talk about Night of the Living Dead.
Oh, wait.
Are you talking about the
There's a-
original black and white Night of the Living Dead? Because that is definitely a cult classic.
Wait, there's a difference? I don't like zombies. I don't know. Is this now 28 Days Later and all those movies? Are they like just spiritually related because
To
of
Night of the Living Dead.
zombie, or are they?
Yeah, so Night of the Living Dead was the original, very, very first zombie movie ever.
Oh,
Black and white. It was first time actually that there was like a black man as like
Is
a main leading
is it
character.
Romero, or was that he did
Yeah,
he
it
do
was- he
Evil
was-
Dead?
No, Romero did the original
Night of the
that
Living Dead.
one, Night of the Living Dead, and that's what made him famous.
And these are two different.
Totally two
franchises.
different franchises.
Mm.
Or maybe I'm getting the Romero wrong, but yeah, like the Evil Dead movies were done by a totally different person, and that's the one with Bruce Campbell in it. Bruce Campbell was not in fucking
I see. I get it now.
Night of the Living Dead.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like Bruce Campbell because he's ridiculous.
He is absolutely ridiculous.
He makes me happy.
Yes.
Did you ever watch that TV show he was in?
Yeah.
With I liked it.
What's his name versus the Evil Dead, which is the name of his character.
No. Oh no, that was fun. That was when he was
hilarious
older.
too. Yeah.
But no, when he was younger, he was in like a cowboy TV show that was similar to Evil Dead in tone, like just ridiculous.
No, I never saw it.
You never saw it? It's pretty funny. Oh snap! Shaun of the
Sam Raimi,
Dead.
that's who it was.
Oh, Sam Raimi did.
Yeah. And Shaun of the Dead was not a cult classic. That movie did well in the theaters. I know it did.
It probably did.
Yeah.
But he's another cinematic universe. That's another one where it's like an indie.
Ash vs. Evil Dead. That's the one. Thank you.
Oh. Did Coneheads become a classic, Crystal? You know what? Coneheads has one of my favorite songs in it. It was by
Oh yeah, the
Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah.
And it was one that they didn't release on Blood Sugar Sex Magic.
Yeah.
And they released it on the fucking Conehead soundtrack. And the only way you could get that song was to buy the Conehead soundtrack.
I've heard this rant so many times.
And Sarah bought it for me. And then I
Yes.
used to listen to that. It's called Soul to Squeeze.
Yeah.
It's a great song.
Conan the Barbarian was not a cult classic, was it?
We talked about Labyrinth. Duncan doesn't want to put it on the list because he's a hater.
Oh, UHF. Yes, Natalie. I love UHF. That was a fucking hilarious movie.
Is that
That's Weird Al's
Weird
movie.
Al.
Yeah, it's like one movie.
did that become a cult classic? Yeah, I think it
I
did.
think it did. It's fucking ridiculous either way. I love that movie.
Okay.
And Conan the Barbarian, I didn't know that became a cult classic. Like I thought it did well in the movie theaters, which is what made Arnold Schwarzenegger. So I don't know that that's me.
Hey, let's not say they shot down Labyrinth. All right, I like Labyrinth. I would put it on the
Yeah.
list. That's one of the only movies I
shot down
rewatch on
Labyrinth.
here.
Yeah,
Duncan's a hater.
Yeah.
Enemy Mine. Sophia, now you're really going down this Google rabbit hole with movies that no one's ever heard of before.
Enemy Mine is amazing. I love that movie.
What the fuck is that?
Enemy Mine is I can never remember this guy's name. He was
it like
Doc Holliday in the Wyatt Earp movie. He was in The Day After Tomorrow. He's in a bunch of movies, and if I saw his name, come on, help me out here. What is his
Iceman?
name? No, it wasn't him.
Val Kilmer?
No, it wasn't him. That's
Oh, Natalie, The Last Unicorn.
oh fuck that movie. I hate
That
that
movie kind of fucks me up.
of
It's very Watership Downey.
it's not Val Kilmer because Val Kilmer was Doc Holliday in
Tombstone.
but I'm talking about the Doc Holliday that was in the Wyatt Earp movie with Kevin Costner, and I can't remember that guy's name.
No,
Quaid, Dennis Quaid.
Oh,
So it's Dennis Quaid, another character in really crazy makeup, and basically it's one of the first. It's one of the first learning to love your enemy through exposure. Like you just hate them because you don't know them.
Yeah.
And it's a movie that basically goes off
with
on that whole
aliens
tangent.
or something.
With
right?
aliens, yeah. Essentially, like these two aliens, one human, one alien gets caught on a
Wasn't it like right around the time as like Last Starfighter?
same,
Which
same
kind of
event.
became a cult classic.
I mean, somebody brought up Lost Starfighter a while back,
Yeah.
but it just sort of got skipped over on the chat. But yeah, like I didn't know that became a cult classic. I know it was a movie, and I enjoyed it.
I think it just
still
has
enjoy it.
a fan base, but there's a difference. Yeah.
But Enemy Mine was definitely sort of like that.
Howard the Duck
Yeah,
was not a cult classic. I think
yeah,
there are people who ironically watch it
yeah.
and defend it for the trolling purposes.
I watch it just because occasionally I want to see somebody try and sell bestiality, and you get to see that young actress in a thong, which is hot. But
Jesus. Plan 9 from outer space. Jesus Christ. We're going back to like 1952. What is happening right here? We talked about Harold and Maude. I think that is on the short list. The Lost Boys is on the short list. Scarface. Yeah.
really,
Oh, a Never Ending Story.
that's crazy. I know Neverending Story is absolutely a cult classic.
Yeah.
If it didn't do well in the movie theater, which I didn't know it didn't, but yeah, it absolutely blew up.
We
once
need
it
to
went
see
the-
how well it did in the movie theater.
Yeah,
I saw it in the theater.
someone look it up.
Because that is definitely a classic. I don't know if it's a cult classic. Scarface is still interesting though.
Yeah, that blows my mind because I know that wasn't that also nominated for like a fucking Oscar?
You would think. I mean, Al Pacino's always been nominated, especially like, and at least it was before his hoo-ah era.
Yeah.
It was when he was like actually an actor instead of just a caricature.
Yeah. And Star Wars, get the fuck out of here. Star Wars blew up. That's the whole
Someone
point
say
of
Star Wars.
Yeah, get the fuck
Fucking
out of here.
Sophia.
Sophia, you are very hit and miss. Occasionally you're like
She said Back to the Future.
No,
Now you're just trolling.
Now you're just like, oh, old movies.
Jesus Christ. Box office success with almost 5 million people seeing it in theaters. Became the highest grossing German film
Oh wow.
at the time. Wait,
Okay, so
which are we
Neverending
talking about?
Story.
Neverending Story was a German film?
I didn't know that.
What are you talking about? It was in English.
Well, no, but it could be made by German people. German people
But that
speak
doesn't
English.
make it a German film.
Oh.
If it was it made in America in Hollywood by German people, that's a fucking American film. If it was in English and
Why
it was
don't you ask Llama? Why are you talking to me?
getting
I don't fucking
upset.
know.
It's very European. What does that even mean? It went to Germany. What is it like? Okay, here's the thing. You can shoot a film in like American films are often shot in other
Right.
countries.
X-Files isn't Canadian simply because it was filmed in Canada.
Right.
It's about the American government.
If it's in English and it's based on an American story and it had an American screenwriter, based on a German fantasy novel.
Oh.
Huh. I still don't think that makes it a German film. I think that makes it an American film
it's
based on a German book.
Yeah.
But okay. I mean, that's fair enough. I didn't know that. That's interesting. Ignore that, says Nigoth. I don't know what I'm ignoring, but when I looked up Scarface, Scarface initially made money at the box office, grossing 45 million domestically and 66 million worldwide. Okay. Yeah, it did well.
Yeah. Okay.
And then it looks like Neverending Story was a success.
Yeah.
I will happily claim X-Files. X-Files is very successful.
Yes,
for sure.
And is an American TV show.
That's all it means. It just did well in Germany. Okay. Performed very well in theaters. Yes. 100 million worldwide.
Holy crap.
Damn. And
That's
that was
back in 1980s money.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
Mm-hmm. And traumatized a bunch of people. Slow dying horse.
Bro. Between that and the wolf,
The fucking
Jesus,
wolf.
bro.
And the Rock guy. That made
Well, I
me
like
sad
the Rock
too.
guy.
I know I liked him, but he didn't he die?
Well, yeah, he died sadly.
Oh, I think at the end you see him like striding across and he's back to life, right?
Oh, yeah, because all of them come back.
Oh yeah, even the horse comes back. That's right. Yeah, the Big Lebowski's. I think the Big Lebowski's going to end up on the short list. That is also just like one of my personal favorites.
Yeah,
I used to quote it all the time. I think
I've never seen it all the way through, but that's just because of the uncomfortable humor I can't take.
Yeah,
but
makes sense.
I've seen sections of it. I've had to with you,
and like so many of the lines.
Yeah.
Mommy Dearest, I've never seen. Oh,
Showgirls.
Okay, Showgirls. I guess has been like reevaluated. I've read this whole thing about.
I know nothing about this.
Yeah, they're like doing midnight showings of Showgirls all over the place.
Okay,
but I don't know. I don't think it is mainstream cult classic. I think that's just again a very niche, and I think it's tongue in cheek. I don't think anyone likes that movie. It's a fucking trash movie. That is the worst.
So I have a few here.
Okay.
So there's I'm amazed this was on there. I don't know why it was on the list. Akira.
Oh, Akira was a huge hit in Japan. That was
the thing. I don't think it was a cult classic. Like it may not have done well here, but that was before an anime blew up anywhere. Like, besides Japan,
I would say it became an American cult classic, but was a hit to begin with. Yeah, Office Space.
We've already got Office Space.
Don't tell Mom that Babysitter's Dead is actually not a bad suggestion.
Oh yeah, that's not bad. The
I
dishes
don't know.
are done, dude.
The dishes are done, man.
I can't believe this was on a list. I don't get how it works, but Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
That's right. It was a bomb.
It was?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I knew it blew up afterwards. I knew everybody was into that movie afterwards.
I love that movie.
Yeah, it's great.
We can't stop now.
No.
This is Bat Country.
Bat Country. Do you see what God did? That was you prick.
I want to watch that now again. Galaxy Quest was a hit, though. They were going to make a second one, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that it was a hit, but I do know that it was fucking hilarious. I can't believe it. If it did bad, I'd
Get Out. What?
Mad.
No. Death Becomes Her was not. I don't think that's a cult classic. Does anybody like that movie? That movie sucks. I don't know of anyone who's like, man, we got to watch Death Becomes Her again. Oh, The Warriors. Sophia, you are going so far down that rabbit hole, but that is actually a good one. It was a 1980s movie about gangs.
I never saw it.
Ridiculous nonsense. Like every gang leader has, one tattoo or whatever,
and a bandana
and a
and a switchblade.
Oh, she told Nathan to get out. Okay, I was like, Get Out is not on the list. Oh, Crystal.
Spaceballs? But I thought that did well in the movie theaters. I saw it in the movie theaters.
Did it? Interesting.
Yeah, I thought it did well. Somebody
Somebody look that up.
check it.
Yeah, because that's a good one. The
There's
Iron.
no way the Iron Giant didn't do well.
Yeah, that one did well.
Yeah.
They made a musical out of Death Becomes Her. That doesn't mean
That's
that it was a cult
insanity.
classic, though. And in
No.
fact, that makes it very mainstream. So
Yeah.
I would say the Broadway musical is probably very mainstream, but the original movie was not a classic or cult in any way.
So I have a couple that were on this list that I went through that I sort of get, but I don't understand. Big Trouble in Little China and Bloodsport, mostly just because I can't imagine they did very well in movie theaters, and I can't imagine there was a huge following after the fact.
I loved Big Trouble in Little China.
I love that movie
watched it.
too. Yeah.
I don't know that I would love it now, but I loved it as a
I
kid.
mean, it's still, if you loved it back then, you'll love it now because it's just as ridiculous.
Who's the actor in it? Is it
Kurt
Snake
Russell.
Plissken?
Yeah.
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 Bad movie, right?
So dumb.
Pretty bad.
Absolutely.
But I remember like anytime it was on, I would watch it.
Yeah.
I was like, woohoo.
Woo. Yeah. And then Bloodsport, I loved just because it's
That's Van
a
Damme,
martial
right?
arts movie. Yeah, it's like it's the pinnacle of martial art. Movie.
Well, Kickboxer 2, where
Well,
it was the one
basically, but they that was just
They, like, came out-
Bloodsport remade with just only kickboxing.
yeah.
Like that's the thing. Like Bloodsport sort of set the tone, and then they just redid it a bunch of times.
This cat is buzzing me. It gained a cult following and is still considered a popular comedy. Spaceballs was met with critical reception and a moderate box office performance. It wasn't a blockbuster hit.
I don't know that still qualifies it as a cult following. It gained a
Yeah.
cult following and is considered a popular comedy. Well, yeah, it's a popular comedy. I know a cult classic.
There's only like 3 lines that I like,
Yeah.
but
Gross approximately 31.7 million worldwide.
never heard of The Independent. The Iron Giant didn't do very well.
It didn't?
Sophia's just she's just copying and pasting Google,
Yeah.
the entirety of Google. Blair Witch was a huge smash,
commercial success.
and again, especially based compared to its budget.
Yeah.
It made so much money
Yeah.
based on the fact that they paid those people nothing,
Yeah.
and then they got nothing after. They had to sue for residuals and like
Yeah.
the use of their image because no one expected it to make money. So they were like, "Yeah, we'll do this student production for free, basically, or whatever," and then it made billions.
What's
Snakes on a Plane.
Snakes on a Plane? Yeah, I'm not telling that story again, but I didn't know it became a cult classic. It was sort of a B movie
Yeah.
cult classic when it came out.
It became a meme.
Yeah.
It was a meme. It was a like joke.
Yeah.
And so I don't think I don't think anyone watches it now.
Secretary, what are you on about, Jessica?
That's true.
Is it a cult classic?
It's a BDSM cult classic.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love that movie.
It was super like reevaluated in the
Yeah.
era of BDSM, and like people love it now because it's super kinky.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was great.
Secretary, I would put on the
I loved the
list.
movie. I didn't love Snakes on a Plane.
He
I loved a
loved
woman.
Snakes on a
I loved a
Plane.
woman who loved Snakes on a Plane, and that was the problem.
And then he had to act like he loved snakes. on a
Yeah.
Plane. Gumby the movie.
What?
I don't know. Maybe. Willow.
Willow.
Oh, I love Willow.
Was that not? Did that not do well in the theaters?
Yeah, it didn't do very well.
What?
I think it was
Yeah.
a modest hit.
Well,
Well, not even a
definitely-
hit. I think it was a modest. I think it outpaced its budget by a
Uh-huh.
little bit,
Yeah.
but like not very much. It was considered a disappointment.
Oh, that's so sad. I love Willow.
I love Willow. I still think they were doing. I was listening to another podcast where they were doing kind of the top 5 like Val Kilmer movies
Yeah.
of all time, and they put Willow. This one guy was fighting for Willow, and everyone else was like, "Why would we even put it?" And I'm like, "Are you kidding? Mad Mardigan
Is Amazeballs.
That's like
That
his
is
icon-
Val Kilmer.
To me, it's like
Mhm.
Iceman and Mad Mardigan. That's Val Kilmer.
That's Val Kilmer in a nutshell.
Oh, and The Doors. He pulled
Well,
off
okay. Yeah,
Jim
but
Morrison better than Jim Morrison. When I
Yeah.
think of Jim Morrison, I just think of Val Kilmer, basically.
I mean, also the guy in Real Genius, but that was
Yeah, and that one ended up on there.
yeah.
I think it was
Nick
those.
Knight.
I don't
Knight.
remember his name, but yeah,
Chris Knight. Chris
Okay.
Knight was his name.
sure. Willow earned 137.6 million. That's pretty good. Against Jesus,
Yeah, no, I was gonna say I thought it did
It
pretty
turned a
well.
Profit.
Yeah, I thought
Okay.
it did pretty well. I didn't. Yeah, I don't think it counts.
Oh, Zofia, you're nailing it with stupid Google.
Roadhouse,
But Roadhouse
yeah.
is a freaking cult classic.
Yes, it is.
Damn, that's a good
So
one.
much random booby in that movie. God
It's
damn.
so stupid, but it's
so dumb.
it is entertaining.
Yeah,
It's one of the really bad entertaining movies that I enjoy.
I agree.
I have no excuse for it.
I mean, I do. I like boobs.
I also like what's his face? God, the guy who was in it and died. The main character. Who was it? Patrick Swayze.
You're
I think
killing it.
you didn't know. You didn't jump
I don't
in.
know any of these.
Patrick Swayze has great charisma. Like every
Yeah.
movie that he's been in, even when they're bad, like you just want to watch him more.
Yeah.
American Psycho. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
God damn, our list is way too long, you guys. That
Yeah,
is
we're gonna have
actually
to
a good
start
one.
fucking thinning this bitch out because basically at this point all we've got is movies.
I heard that The Thing was a cult classic. I've never known
But did
anyone
it-
who liked that movie.
I've known people who like that movie, but I didn't know that it didn't do well in the movie theater. That was the thing. I thought it was because it was a Carpenter film. I thought it did well.
I don't know. Somebody maybe can check.
Okay.
Misery was a hit and is great.
Tremors.
Oh, that's interesting.
Tremors. I didn't know it didn't do well, but yeah, Tremors
These
is
are-
definitely. I didn't know. Like, is that got a cult following?
We just
now?
have to check these because I feel like
Yeah.
some of these did well in the theater.
Yeah.
Not American Psycho though. That was a legit cult classic. That became like everybody loves American Psycho, and I don't think it was a hit.
Yeah. I didn't like that movie. I didn't even. Again, I couldn't watch it all the way through because it was just so uncomfortable. but
Reefer Madness.
God, fuck out of here.
Kinda. It did become a
No,
cult
because it was
classic.
never released in the fucking movie theater as any sort of serious
No.
movie.
It was like a
It was a fucking
it was a one of those
PSA, like
Yeah,
Reagan era PSA shit.
it was like a mandatory viewing for children,
Yeah.
basically, or school kids.
Yeah.
The Thing did not do well at the box office. Interesting. And deserved. That movie sucks. Go fuck yourself, Thing.
Mm.
I don't like it. But I guess it probably would be a cult classic. I don't know. Again, I don't really know that people like that. People like
Yeah,
that movie?
I didn't know people were. I mean, yeah, I know people like it. I just didn't know people were that into it. They were just like, it's cool, and like the special effects were like real. So
People suck.
Yeah.
You mean like practical?
practical, yeah.
The effects were real. They had a monster. They found a monster.
They found a shape-shifting monster, and that was pretty impressive.
I love Tremors, not The Thing, but I do love Tremors.
Yeah, the Tremors is just fucking the original is so good.
And it's funny because I didn't realize.
Kevin Bacon.
How did I not even realize that they just had like small dune worms? Was what it was.
Yeah.
They just stole from Dune,
I mean, yeah.
pretty much.
Mm,
Right?
the mouths are different.
Oh, you're right.
It's much smaller.
I stand corrected.
Yeah, didn't have. They didn't have like serpentine.
They didn't look
fucking
like
snake-
anuses.
They didn't have
Yeah.
snaky, tongues.
Well, see, in the old one, they looked like they did the segmented thing, and now they do just the weird butthole, which I do not like.
Mm,
I
like
prefer
a
the-
worm.
Well, I don't know. Do worms have like cilia all down their mouths?
Well, no, but they have butthole mouths.
Okay, I don't like it.
Mm.
Old Boy, I've heard is people like it. I don't know it.
Never seen it.
Battle Royale was sort of stolen, right? That was like the Japanese movie that was kind of
yeah.
turned
It
into the
was-
Hunger Games, basically.
Yeah, that just became the Hunger Games, and Old Boy became You Were Never Really Here, which was the
Oh,
yeah, that was what's his name?
Josh Brolin or something? Didn't Josh
no,
Brolin?
You Were Never Really Here was done by the same guy who played the evil Roman emperor and Johnny Cash.
Yeah. Joaquin Phoenix.
Joaquin Phoenix.
Okay. Reefer Madness was great, she says. Rocky Horror Picture Show is, I believe, on the list.
I mean, it kind of has to be.
Yes, it is. And I think it will end up on the list, even though I hate it.
Mm.
I mean, I've seen it live and it's kind of fun.
Yeah,
but
it's only. I will only say, like I said earlier, I only like that movie as like a experience. Like if you're going to see it with friends and shit like that. Like I got some of my first girlfriends from that movie.
It's a Wonderful Life is not a cult classic. That was a
Get out of here.
massive hit. The Honeymoon Killers. I don't know any of these. Children of the Corn is just bad. Do
Yeah.
people like that movie?
I didn't know it was a cult classic.
I don't know. It's just not good.
No.
It's just a bad movie. Wizard of Oz. What? It's a huge hit. Breckenridge, I've never heard of. All right, you guys are killing me. We have a good list, though. What about the Rob Zombie movies? That's another one where there's one guy making movies that
Yeah.
have a built-in audience.
House of a Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects were all like,
Yeah.
all of his fans were like, woo! And everyone else is like, huh?
Yeah, it's just if you're in that niche, you're down. But I don't think it's a cult
Chainsaw
classic.
Massacre? That's not.
Oh, no, that became a freaking cult classic.
Oh no, I know it is. Yeah, I just was like, how did it do? I don't think it did well. No, I'm thinking about
You know, it might have actually done well.
I can't remember. I thought it did. I know it scared the shit out of everybody.
I thought that was kind of what it was almost like Behind the Green Door, Red Door, or whatever, where it was like some crazy porn slasher film
Right.
that had crossover mainstream appeal, and the reason that it became such a big deal is because it like made millions of dollars.
Yeah.
So we'd have to check that. Mad Max. Yeah, but no one likes the original.
No one likes. Yeah,
I tried to watch it.
It's horrifying.
It's
Bad.
absolute trash.
Yeah, it's hot flaming garbage. But the ones after it were good.
Yeah, it did spawn movies that are not cult classics. There,
Beastmaster, nice.
Yes,
Cinematic ferrets forever.
Snap. I've seen it so many times.
So many times.
It was one of those movies that would play like Shawshank
again
constantly.
Yeah,
and when you were 12, you were like, "This is the best thing ever."
I want Ninja Ferrets.
I don't think it's a cult classic though, because I think everyone acknowledges that it's absolute shit, but it's just some of us loved it because of nostalgia. Yeah. Chainsaw, she just says. So it bombed as far as profit, but was critically acclaimed. Is that Chainsaw Massacre? Interesting. I don't know which one she's referring to. That was my first original idea. So if you Mad Max, is that what you're talking about? I mean, it spawned. It's interesting because it was a movie that has not been like critically reevaluated or beloved, but it did spawn a huge franchise. Yeah, I don't know which one. Night of the Comet. Is that a cult classic? It's one of the ones where like aliens and stuff. Oh, Wizard of Oz? What are we? Okay, I don't know what we're talking about, you guys, but Wizard of Oz was not a cult classic. That was a massive, that was during the studio system when they made like 2 movies a year and everyone saw the same movie. So here's the list that I have, unless you guys are throwing more on. Nosferatu, it's actually not a bad kind of a cult classic. It became a cult classic because it was censored. It was pulled. And I don't know that anyone could really watch it.
Oh, you're talking about like the original one back in like the 1950s or whatever?
Yeah, because
I've never seen it.
So the people who managed the estate and the IP, the property for Dracula, basically pulled that movie. They got it. Supposedly they got all of it destroyed, but I think a few copies remained, and then it became a big deal. Finding Nemo. Okay, coffee. You're killing me.
All right,
Wicker Man is kind of a cult classic.
Let's start whittling this down because we've got over 30 in here.
I know. Office Space, Starship Troopers, Big Lebowski, Evil Dead, Super Troopers, Napoleon Dynamite, The Lost Boys, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, Toxic Avenger, Killer Limes from Outer Space. That's not what I wrote.
No.
Clue, A Clockwork Orange, Harold and Maude, They Live, Heathers, UHF, Neverending Story, Jesus Christ, Fear and Loathing, Secretary, Roadhouse, American Psycho, Rocky Horror.
Jesus Christ. Okay, so let's narrow it down so we can just say all of the Evil Dead movies is just one.
And then, yeah, but I put that as one. But
okay.
Why don't you and I choose one that we just have to have on the list, and then we go from there? Because I'm putting Big Lebowski on.
Okay.
It has there's literally conventions.
Hey man. I'm gonna go with the original Evil Dead movies just because I think they qualify, and B I love at least 2 of them. Evil Dead 2.
But why not Night of the Living Dead when that one was more of wasn't that the originator?
Right, but I never liked that movie, and I don't like any of the I don't like any of those zombie movies. Like those Evil Dead isn't about zombies.
No,
it's about evil.
That is dead. Was dead. Wants to make you dead. All those, all the above.
Yeah, but not zombies.
I don't. It's too. I like what's his face, but the effects look stupid to me, and it was ridiculous. I did like the one in the medieval times or whatever.
Yeah, Army of Darkness.
just because he says Klaatu. Mad Max. Yeah, that's the thing. It made $8 million, which is not very much, but again, on a budget of 75 cents, that's a lot.
Yes.
Okay, so Into the World movies uses a lot of trash, but not much of a budget when you use unknown actors. Yeah, exactly. Evil Dead is not zombies, says Natalie. That's
it's not
fair.
zombies.
Duncan pointed that out. That is
Yeah.
true. Okay,
Deadites ain't zombies.
I do think that the Rocky Horror Picture Show has to go on.
Yeah,
because I think it's the number one cult classic of all time.
When you think of cult classic, that is the movie you think of.
It's like what everyone references as
Yeah.
a cult classic.
Yep.
And
Even
then-
though nobody ever knows when I say I see magenta, but the virgins don't. Nobody ever gets it.
I don't get it.
See?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. I would also put on there, and we can go back and forth on this.
Okay.
But I would probably put. Oh man, actually, now I would probably put Roadhouse.
Yeah. I mean, it
Can you
spawned
think
a
of it?
remake, for fuck's sake.
I mean, I'd put Napoleon Dynamite, but I know you wouldn't. You know what I would put is Office Space.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll actually go Office Space. Just because that got memed to shit, and B, I like I said, there's so much uncomfortable humor in it. It was really hard for me, but I did actually get through it, and I just loved it. Ernest, please to the ground. Stole my stapler. Just like, what the fuck?
And the printer, like when they just go ham on the printer, and it's like, damn, it feels good to be a gangster or whatever is playing.
No, that was in the car. I thought they played a Rage Against the Machine song or something for
No,
that one.
it's because almost I think all of the rap is Scarface, and so it's I even remember the lyric. It's like oh man, well I can't say it because they use N-words and stuff, but I know what the lyrics are for that. It was a Scarface song.
Okay.
Into the world movie. Okay.
Did chat freeze? Because it no go on this one.
Yeah, I think it froze.
Okay.
So other ones that I would like to put on there
Mhm.
would be like Starship Troopers, The Lost Boys.
I think we have to put the Lost Boys on just for Santa Cruz.
I kind of think
I think we have to.
Heathers maybe.
Yeah, I don't much care about Heathers.
Roadhouse. So we've got Office Space, Big Lebowski, Evil Dead, Rocky Horror. We've got 4. We need like one real classic here.
Seminal one.
Still by the Ghetto Boys. Thank you.
Yeah.
Back up in your ass with the resurrection. I know he says that when he's like hitting the thing. We're here. Yes, now you are. Because I had to refresh.
Okay. So what are we putting in there? Because all right, so read us the list again.
So we have 4 right now: Office Space, Big Lebowski, Evil Dead, Rocky Horror, and then the ones that we're kind of debating are Lost Boys. They Live. I would really love to put on there.
God.
Never Ending Story. No, because that's a hit.
Yeah. They Live I would put on there
Roadhouse.
because that's been memed to shit. Roadhouse less so. Like I know it became such a cult classic that it got made into the Jake Gyllenhaal movie.
Gyllenhaal.
I can't say his last name. I never can. So it's either that or it's either Roadhouse or They Live. But They Live is more cult. Like it was nobody'd seen it. Nobody saw nothing, and then it suddenly blew up. And it is such a great take on like brainless capitalism. Like I do like that, and how corporations
It operates
take over.
on multiple levels.
Yes, it
Very
does.
obvious multiple levels.
Yeah.
It's not subtle,
No.
but it's fun.
Yeah.
Roadhouse maybe even more fun
I like
and
boobs.
operates on 1 levels.
Maybe 2. Ass whooping and boobies.
That's true.
Yeah.
There are 2 elements.
2 elements.
1 level.
Yeah.
It hits you right in the
lizard brain.
yes.
Yes.
It
It
is
is fight and fuck.
It is-
right there.
amygdala primal.
Yep.
Everyone wants Secretary or Heathers. Y'all are horny.
Mm-hmm.
Is what it is.
Horny jail, all of you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you said They Live over Roadhouse?
I kind of feel it just because I've seen at least more memes of They Live scenes. Like just the I came to do 2 things whole monologue.
Did that come from there?
Yeah. I mean, there are a couple of I came to do 2 things, or there are only 2 things that come out of Texas and blah blah blah. Like those are monologues, but like yeah. Came to do 2 things, chew gum and kick ass, and I'm all out of chewing, all out of gum. Like
That came from They Live?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And then you always see the skeleton faces or like
Yeah,
X-ray faces or whatever they are.
yeah. I've seen one meme where it was like it's some sort of hot blonde, like in the bar And then you get her home, and it's the
You could make a case for Heathers. I mean, it really is a big cult classic. Even like Gen Z has embraced Heathers.
yeah. It's
Could-
right up there with all the Mean Girls shit, though. It's just a vengeance
Yeah.
movie about Mean Girls, though, like where they actually die.
Yeah.
I don't have a huge problem with it, but when it's put up against Roadhouse and They Live, like I would way rather watch either one of those two than Heathers again.
Yeah, we may have to just Sophia. We may have to just go with our gut and what we would want to watch, and that would probably be They Live.
Yeah.
I'd actually watch Roadhouse over They Live, but I think
Yeah, so would I. Shit, does that decide it?
I don't know. I mean, if you think They Live is more valid for the category,
Yeah,
Then I'm
because
fine
I
with
haven't
it.
seen a lot of memes of Roadhouse.
No.
I've just seen a bunch of that.
and
so-
it only came back in the zeitgeist because they made the remake.
right.
So let's go with They Live.
Yeah, I like that.
I think we've got a good list, you guys. This was a tough one because you could make a case for all of these.
Oh yeah.
And I think you could make a better case in some cases.
Say
these
case one more time.
these were great suggestions, even though a lot of them were Zofia spamming the chat from Google. But she came up with some good suggestions,
She did.
even though she has seen 0 of these movies.
Nunts. Nunts.
You were very helpful.
You were. Thank you very much. Chat actually came through and did a lot of usefulness. Even Coffee had a couple of winners
Jesus, why are we throwing Coffee under the bus?
because she loves it and she knows we love her.
They
She didn't just troll the entire time as she's wont to do.
There wasn't Boomspool Cat wasn't here fucking with me.
Oh, dude, yeah, that'd have been forever.
I appreciate that. So Sophia said I carried the chat.
No, God,
So we have a list. It is
you were spawn camping. That's all you were doing.
It is They Live, Office Space, Big Lebowski, Evil Dead, and the Rocky Horror Picture Show. 3 of these movies I would recommend and potentially watch again.
Yeah.
You probably 3 also. It would just be a different 3.
Yeah.
Because you would probably watch They Live, Office Space, and Evil Dead.
Yes.
And I would watch They Live, Office Space, and Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
And have. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. This was a fun one. This could have gone worse. There could have been more bloodshed. I feel like I was incredibly restrained, and I'm
You
very
were
proud of
very
myself.
calm. I just a little round of applause for Shane. He didn't try and visually eviscerate anybody. It's very good, Shane. Good Shane. Good.
The
Shane.
bar is set so low.
It's
It's like I didn't
so low.
I didn't physically punch the computer, so
Yes.
we're okay.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Oh, of course, Pug said sorry. Just woke up. He joined in the beginning,
Grandpa passed out. It's fine.
and then he missed the list at the end. I only got worked up once. I don't know. I got
it's really
internally.
only
I've been
working.
worked up the entire time. If that helps.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Woohoo!
Woot.
Cheers.
All right. So we love you all. And thank you all for continuing to support the show and be awesome. And Coffee, I will see you in the video games. Any of you want entertainment? We also do video games. I play the video games, and Coffee and Nathan can attest that it is at least halfway amusing most times.
I play video games, but none of you are invited
Yes.
because I don't know how to do that.
So night, and then as per usual, and forever after.
Knowledge is power.
Sleep is overrated. But I'm gonna go get some.
I don't know if it worked,
Okay.
but I'm hoping it did. Thanks, everybody.
Night.